I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
What's good? We're going to get into NXT from August the 25th, 2026. This was an okay episode of NXT. This was the go-home show to this Sunday's NXT Heatwave. And yes, we will go over predictions for Heatwave. It should be a good one. This was an okay show. But before we get into the review, I want to wish a happy birthday to myself. Yes, today is my birthday. So, wish me happy birthday. If you like, that's fine. But today is my birthday. And I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Vince McMahon. Yesterday was his birthday on August 24th. Man is 81 years old. So, may God continue to bless Vince McMahon and myself. It's a blessing for him to see 81. A lot of people don't even make it to see their 80s anymore. So it's a tremendous blessing. So happy birthday to Vince McMahon, and happy birthday to myself. So, again, this was an okay episode of NXT. I like what they're doing. Now, I don't like the summits that they do. I really don't. I wish they kind of would stop those, because it just leads to a brawl. Because most of the times, nothing usually happens outside of a chaotic brawl. And we've seen this time and time again. Every time they do this summit, these summits, it doesn't matter whether it's an all-male summit or an all-female summit, or like how it was here, intergender, male and female. So, it is what it is, though. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the show. So we kick the show off with the first match of the night, that being Saquan Shugars versus Dion Lennox in a steel cage. It was weaponized, and the winner of this thing was Saquan Shugars. So the feud is finally over. He ended up doing a beautiful crossbody off the top of the cage, and that was it. So there's that. I'll assume this feud is over with. It needs to be. They got to move on. You can keep Saquan Shugars in the mid card, and you need to do something with Dion Lennox as well, right? You got to do something. So hopefully this feud is over and done with. It needs to be. And again, I've not really been a fan of this Dark State versus Dark State feud. It's been kind of shit, because WWE didn't really do much of anything with them. So, whatever. Shit happens, but I'm hoping that this is the end of this feud. And both guys need to be moving on to bigger and better things. It just needs to happen like that, right? Because there is potential in both Saquan Shugars and Dion Lennox. You could basically maybe feud Saquan Shugars with like a Tristan Angels or somebody like that, and you can kind of have Dion go after Miles Bourne for the North American Championship. I think that would be good. But we'll have to wait and see how things play out. All right, moving on from that, this leads us into Tony D'Angelo. He's backstage. He cut the backstage promo. He says it's been big PLE after big PLE for Tony D, and he thinks competitors have forgotten who they're stepping in the ring with. The only Grand Slam champion in NXT history. They see him as a stepping stone, but he's the guy who put Obafemi down first before he went to the main roster and became the ruler, which is true, but I don't understand why they have him continue to bring that up. That was basically about a year ago. That's kind of irrelevant now. Like, it'd be different if that happened like 3 or 4 months ago. That's different. That was like well over a year ago. Tony D'Angelo talks about his opponents and what they've passed over to be here, and challenge him for the title, and he'll beat all 3 of them to keep it. Okay, that's fine there. Good stuff there. Moving on. Then we get a video package of Sarah Schreiber. She's at the bowling alley. They hang out with the Vanity Project. She interviews them in a bowling alley. She asked them about Miles Boy and Tavian Heights, how they aren't even real friends, but they compete to make each other better no matter where they are. So, Micah Lockwood, a.k.a. Bailey Humphreys, tells Jackson Drake that she'll show him how to get all 10 pins, and he calls her mama, and then she bowls a strike. Okay, this is fine, I guess. Do I really care about this? No. I mean, it's always good for them to, like, get away from the ring and do shit like this. This is kind of fun. Obviously, this was probably pre-recorded either earlier on that day or sometime last week. But this is pretty cool, I guess. You know, it's interesting. But my thing is, what the hell are they doing with Micah Lockwood? Like, what's her end goal with the Vanity Project? Like, she's got to go after some type of championship or something, right? Because they just brought in a few weeks ago Raina Vulcan, and we haven't seen her since. She's only popped up here and there. We've not seen her since then also. And that's kind of weird too. Like, you kind of bring in a new face here and there for a little bit for the women, and then you kind of bounce out. Like, it's crazy that Vulcan, she's not going to even be on the pay-per-view this weekend, which is weird. I mean, like I say, she's only been there for like almost close to a month, but they got to do something with her, I guess, hopefully. But we got to wait and see how that plays out as well. Moving on from that, this leads us into this leads us into the final face-to-face between Jada Parker and Natty. So Natty says Jada Parker has all the potential in the world, but she's soft and comfortable. And Natty fixed that and made her start thinking smarter. Natty gave Jada the most valuable asset in all of wrestling, her attention. And she is a possibility that Natty turned into a reality, and she's welcome. So Jada Parker shows up, gets a really good reaction. Jada says that since Natalya came to NXT, she's been trying to prove to everyone that Jada Parker is who she says she is, soft and doesn't belong here. But yeah, she did question herself, and she took a lot of losses. But Natalya isn't special, which is true. Jada sees straight through her, and yeah, she has records and a legacy, but we all know this isn't out of the goodness of her heart. Natty saw a woman on the come up and tried to break her, but all she did is remind Jada who she is. She doesn't need Natty to tell her who she is, and if anything, she should be thanking her, because when she wanted to be in the decision again, she picked the right person. You're welcome. So Natty does this like weird little dance for whatever reason, which is kind of fucking weird. And she says that Jada, she says that's the Jada she's looking for, and she doesn't want a normal match at Heatwave. She wants a submission match, and then she calls her a bitch. That being Natty, she calls Jada Parker a bitch. Jada Parker accepts and says she might be a low-key legend, but she's gonna high-key wax that ass at Heatwave, bitch. So they call each other bitches, which is good. I like that. Pretty good. Moving on, this leads us into Keanu Carver defeating Cam Hendricks. Keanu Carver gets the win via a Purpleplex, which is great. I haven't seen a Fisherman Buster as a finisher in quite some time, right? And I like what they're doing with Keanu Carver. You go back to like January or February of this year, he was Mr. Macho Hood guy and everything else. And now he's kind of cool, calm, and collected. And I like that. I like what they're doing with Keanu Carver. I really do. They kind of toned him down a little bit from all that. He's not as wild as he once was. And I'm digging what they're doing with him. I really hope that he can become a champion. I'd love for him to be maybe, I pitched this a while ago. I wouldn't mind seeing him being North American champion at some point in time. I've pitched that for a couple months now. And I hope it happens. I think he would make a great North American champion. And he would do well. Because Keanu Carver's money, man. He's great. He's really, really good. Cam Hendricks, he's okay. For whatever reason, Mason Rook was still there. I guess they're going to still continue the Mason Rook and Cam Hendricks feud for whatever reason. Oh, man, the finish to this match was great. I love the pounce that Keanu Carver did to Cam Hendricks. That was fucking great. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, there's that. Moving on from that, this leads us into Kalani Jordan. So she has a vignette where she talks about her success as a crossover athlete who didn't need the Indies, Evolve, AAA, or a famous last name, or a group to make herself relevant. She talks about the titles she's won and says you might as well call her One Shot Lonnie because she's going to beat Kendall Gray in her first shot at the NXT Women's Championship. Okay, this is fine. I actually do like this. Really good stuff here. I love Kalani Jordan. She's great. Do I think she'll win on Sunday? Probably not. No. And we'll talk about that when we get to the Heatwave predictions. But I don't expect for her to win. Moving on from that, this leads us into Zilla Fatu. So he has a vignette about how he's gone from number one free agent to number one contender to the NXT championship. He talks about the chain he wears around his neck, a gift from his father, Umaga. A part of him that he carries with him every single day. He's not a Nepo baby. He's a grown-ass man who paid it his own way. And yeah, he gets excited when he talks, but he gets excited when he fights. And that's all a part of the Zilla Fatu show. Okay, I actually do like this. Very good stuff here. We got to see footage of Zilla from on the Indies, some stuff from House of Glory, some GCW stuff. So really good stuff there. I actually do like that. I like it. I see big things in store for Zilla. I really do. Moving on. This leads us into Kali Armstrong. She surprisingly defeated Zaria via a roll-up. And this match was tremendous. This match was very, very good. Two powerhouses going at it. I love it, man. I love it. Very, very good match by both women. So now it's going to be a triple threat match for both titles. They're unifying the Speed title along with the NXT Women's Championship. That's fine. I see why they did this because I don't think anyone wants to really see Ren Sinclair and Zaria one-on-one again. We've seen that a couple times already on television, and it didn't go too well. In my opinion, it didn't go too well. I mean, again, I'm a fan of Zaria. Ren Sinclair's okay, but I just didn't like the finish to their first couple matches, and so I see why we didn't get it. But Zaria ended up hitting the spear. She was about to go for the F5, and then Kali Armstrong just hit a random roll up out of nowhere and won. Okay, so there's that. That's fine. Moving on from that, this leads us into Kendall Gray. She's escorting a NASCAR driver, whatever his name is. So whatever. So he warns her about taking risk and entering in her injured ear, but tells her she's cleared. Oh no, that refers to the doctor, I guess. I don't care. Ren Sinclair shows up to be anxious about her match and about Kendall's promo. The race car driver guy tells them to take a deep breath and to calm down. They want to keep him around, that being the race car driver guy, because they like him, and he's down for the Ring QCC. And then they end up doing the Ring QCC handshake. Okay, whatever. Moving on, this leads us into a match I didn't care about and I didn't even watch. That was Birthright. It was an 8-man tag. So Birthright is Stax, Charlie Dempsey, Lexis King, Uriah Connors, a.k.a. Brogan Finley, and versus Dorian Von Dukes, Noam Dar, Romeo Minoru, and Sean Legacy. Who won this? Because I didn't even watch this shit at all. Didn't care about it. Birthright, they got the win. Okay, whatever. Who really cares about this at all? I don't. Whatever. Who cares? So basically, Robert Stone is telling a referee that he needs her and her team to be on guard tonight, I guess, for whatever reason. So Keanu Carver shows up, and Robert Stone asks what's the deal, and Mason Rook interfering was, but Keanu Carver insists the referee's decision is final. So Charlotte Hill shows up. He wants a match against Naraku, explaining the chemical composition of the red mist as a reason as to why he's good to go. And then Stone makes him a match for next week. Okay, that's fine, whatever. Am I excited about a Naraku Charlotte Hill feud? No, I am not, under no circumstances. Moving on, main event of the evening. Rey Fenix defeats EK Prosper in a really good match, television match for the AAA Cruiserweight Championship. The match was very good. Both guys went balls to the walls. It was not better than the match that Phoenix had with Dragon Lee the previous night, 24 hours ago, which is fine. But this match was an okay TV match, though. It was, right? And this was the best match on the show. So, nothing was going to top this at all. Not even Zaria and Kali Armstrong. So Phoenix wins via the Muscle Buster. So there's that. Moving on from that, Miles Bourne and Taven Heights, they are on this show. They introduce another race car driver. Who really cares? Taven talks about the match order. Miles Bourne says it doesn't matter. They got 2 matches, and that means 2 W's. Tavion says he doesn't know what he'll do if he loses the title. And Miles says, you can't let the what if control you. So Hank and Tank, they show up. And they congratulate the double champs and everything else. And basically, they want dibs at the tag titles. And Taven Heights is like, nah. They stay focused on, they're focused on Heatwave. But they'll see him around eventually. So, whatever. Moving on from that, the closing segment of the show, basically, is the summit. So, Kendall Gray comes out. She shows up. Kendall Gray says some stuff. She says that Kalani is right and everything else. She continues to yap on. She talked about, what she's done thus far in NXT. So she yaps some more and everything else. Kalani Jordan shows up. She does the same thing. She talks trash to both Ren and Kendall Gray. Then Zaria shows up and everything else, calls all the women delusional and everything. Kali Armstrong shows up as well. And then Grayson Waller, he shows up. He talks trash to all the girls and everything else and all that. Mike Santana, Tony D'Angelo shows up. He says he doesn't give a damn about this. Whether it's Grayson Waller 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, or even 5.0, he's going to do the same thing he always does, and that's be a disappointment. So Mike Santana shows up. He says some words, and he really just wants to fight. And so basically, it's a massive brawl that ensues. And the guys are fighting the guys, and the women are fighting the women, obviously. Then Zilla Fatu comes out of nowhere, and he takes out all the guys, and he stands tall with the title, and then that was it. And then Ring QCC, they pose with their titles, and that's all. So this is fine, I guess. It is what it is. Who really cares about this, honestly? We've seen 1,000,005 of these summits, especially within the past two to 3 years. I mean, they're okay at times, but this was all right, I guess. So it is what it is, man. This was an okay go home show. All right, let's go ahead and get into the predictions for Heatwave. Heatwave will be taking place on Sunday, August 30th. It's going to be competing against AEW All In. I will be watching both shows. This is going to be taking place at the Brett Ogden Arena, which seats a capacity of 7,688 people, which is fine. I'd say this would bring out a good 7,000, maybe 8,000. So I have to wait and see. Again, this is going to be the second time that this is going to be on the CW. And I like it, so that's good. It's free. It's not behind a paywall. There's 6 matches on the card, and I'm excited about it. A couple multi-man match, a couple multi-person matches. Let's start with Jada Parker versus Natty. Submission match. I'm going to go with Jada Parker. It makes the most sense. I like what they're doing with Natty, but Jada Parker more than likely should win, and hopefully she does win. Moving on from that, let's get into the NXT Tag Team Championships. It's going to be Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne versus the Vanity Project, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes for the NXT Tag Team Championships. I'm going to go with Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. They're going to retain. There'll be no point for the Vanity Project to win. At least give Tavion and Miles Bourne a decent reign with the tag titles. Maybe have them lose in like October at Halloween Havoc or something like that. Or maybe even at the end of the year in December. The Iron Survivor. Maybe you do something like that. That's what I would do, but I wouldn't take the titles off of them so quickly to just put them on the Vanity Project. But that's just me, right? Moving on from that, this leads us into the winner-take-all triple threat match to unify both the Women's Speed Championship as well as the NXT Women's North American Championship. Zaria versus Ren Sinclair versus Kali Armstrong. I'm going to go with Zaria winning everything. There is no need for Kali to win anything. She just got there, basically, in NXT, right? She's been there for maybe like a month, 2 months at best. And they're just actually using Zaria in the right way. And I do think that maybe Kali will take the pin, maybe. Maybe Ren ends up hitting her finish, caught a mutilation, and then maybe Zaria throws her out the ring and does like a spear and F5 to take out Kali Armstrong, which is fine. So maybe, that's how Zaria will win. But I'm going to go with Zaria winning. Moving on from that, sticking with the women, Kendall Gray versus Kalani Jordan for the NXT Women's Championship. Kendall Gray is obviously going to win. This is going to be a good match. This will probably be the co-main event of the show, more than likely. And I'm down for this. This should be one of the matches of the night. And Kendall Gray is more likely going to win. And then I guess you continue the downward spiral of Kalani, because that's the story that they're telling here, right? She's won everything but this title. She's going to win it eventually, but now it's not her time. Maybe she wins it at like Halloween Havoc in October. Maybe she wins it in December when NXT does their final premium live event of the year. So maybe, she'll win around that time. I think that would be better then. I mean, at least give Kendall Gray a 4-month title reign, at least. At least give her a 4-month title reign. At least that. Right? So, there is that. Main event of the evening. Fatal 4-way for the NXT Championship. Tony D'Angelo versus Grayson Waller versus Cruz Montana, a.k.a. Mike Santana, versus Zilla Fatu. I'm going to go with Grayson Waller winning. The reason why I say that is because basically Zilla Fatu just got there. Mike Santana just got there. Really, this whole thing was going to be about Grayson Waller and Tony D'Angelo. So I think Grayson Waller is going to be the one to beat Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo is an okay champion, but I also think that he might get called up soon also. I got a feeling that he probably will end up getting called up, if we're being honest. I mean, he's been in NXT for about basically 4.5, almost 5 years now. And I think it is time for him to get called up. I think if you have Mike Santana down in NXT, Zilla Fatu down there, same thing with Grayson Waller, NXT is fine, right? You don't need Tony D'Angelo in that in the title picture anymore, right? So maybe you end up having Grayson Waller win, maybe like a roll-up or something like that or whatever. Maybe he wins that way. So I do expect for Tony D'Angelo to lose. If he retains, he'll probably end up beating Grayson Waller. But I think that makes the most sense. Again, this whole thing should really just be Grayson Waller versus Tony D'Angelo one-on-one, right? Because Mike Santana just came in. Same thing with Zilla Fatu. They kind of came in like right at the same time. It's just minus 2 weeks, right? So there's that. But let's go over the predictions again. So Jada Parker will beat Natty. Miles Bourne and Tayron Heights, they'll retain the tag team championships. Miles Bourne will retain. No, I think Miles Bourne will lose the title against Jackson Drake more than likely. Zaria will win the triple threats. Kendall Gray will defeat Kalani Jordan, and Grayson Waller will defeat Tony D'Angelo to become the new NXT champion. But what did you guys think of the Go Home show? And what are your predictions for NXT Heatwave? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.